I woke up inside a trashy romance novel, on the day of my divorce. Just as I was about to sign the papers, a series of glowing text boxes floated before my eyes. High-stakes drama ahead. Brace yourself for the twist. Ha ha ha. Can't wait to see this jerk refuse to sign. After he breaks down and begs for forgiveness, make him suffer. He's not going to sign, right? This should be the moment when the male lead finally wakes up and realizes his one true love was framed by the other woman. I glanced at the comments, smiled, and signed the divorce papers without hesitation. I wasn't the main character. Why the hell would I crawl through a redemption arc? Because somehow, I'd been transmigrated, dropped straight into the body of Damian Blackwood, the male lead in a melodramatic, cliché-ridden romance novel titled The CEO's Captive Heart. You know the type. Cold. Cruel. Pathologically blind to the truth. Destined to endure endless humiliation in order to win back the woman he had wronged. A classic scumbag. And right now, I was sitting at City Hall, finalizing my divorce. The woman next to me was stunning, but her face was pale as parchment. That was Evelyn, my wife. At least for the next 5 minutes. According to the story, we'd been married for 3 years, during which the original Damian had been an absolute monster. He neglected her, humiliated her, accused her of cheating, and even caused her miscarriage. Pure, unfiltered trash. But, of course, deep down, he was supposedly madly in love with her. His cruelty was the product of manipulation by a two-faced schemer, his so-called first love and jealousy of Evelyn's suspiciously close friendship with his best friend. The plot was simple. The hero acts like a villain. The heroine suffers. The hero suddenly wakes up, realizes the truth, and begins his endless redemption arc. The original Damian ended up with a broken leg, bankrupt, and half dead. And the best part? Evelyn never forgave him. He went through hell for nothing. As I was thinking about this, those translucent text boxes reappeared, cluttering my vision. Here it comes, the groveling arc begins. Wake up, Damian, you idiot. Look at all she's done for you. If you sign those papers, it's over. I bet $50 he's about to rip them up and scream I refuse. Live chat commentary? I got it. They were the audience, watching from another dimension. They were here for the show, to watch me suffer and crawl back. I nearly laughed. A groveling redemption arc? Not my problem. I wasn't the real Damian. Why should I suffer for some fictional idiot's mistakes? A broken leg? Bankruptcy? Begging for forgiveness? You've got to be kidding me. Freedom sounded far better. A primal survival instinct kicked in. I had to get out of this story, now. The clerk slid the divorce agreement toward me and pointed to the signature line. Evelyn didn't look up. Her gaze was fixed on the table, her eyes hollow. She was already signing her copy, her pen moving fast and hard, like she was escaping from prison. The pen lay right there. I picked it up. The comments went insane. His face is so cold. He's really going to sign? No way. He's pretending. Get ready for the explosion. I ignored the noise and pressed the pen to paper. The tip glided smoothly across the surface. Damian Blackwood. My signature was clean and decisive. Not a tremor in sight. I set the pen down and handed the papers back to the clerk. All done, I said calmly. The hall was silent except for the soft hum of the air conditioner. The clerk stared between us, clearly shocked. He probably hadn't seen many divorces this peaceful, especially not from a CEO infamous for being obsessed with his wife. Evelyn had finished signing too. She finally looked up, her empty eyes meeting mine. The void in them shifted, replaced by something new. Shock. The comment feed exploded. He signed? He actually signed? That's not in the script. Where's the dramatic epiphany? The crawling? My money back. The clerk quickly processed the documents. Minutes later, 2 crimson booklets were handed over, our divorce certificates. It was done. I was, emotionally and legally, a free man. I stood and stretched. Evelyn stayed seated, staring at the papers in her hands as if they were burning her. I didn't spare her another glance. I turned and walked away. My steps were long, quick, eager to leave that place behind. He just left? Didn't even look back. My redemption arc. My suffering. Where's the drama? Outside, sunlight hit my face. The air felt cleaner. A sleek black sedan was waiting at the curb. Back to the office, Mr. Blackwood? The driver asked. Yes. I leaned back and closed my eyes. A dull ache throbbed in my head, but the weight on my chest had vanished. I felt lighter than I had in years. The car merged into traffic. My phone buzzed. Vivian. The other woman. The manipulator who had framed Evelyn and caused the miscarriage. The catalyst for the entire crawling arc. The chat lit up again. Here we go. The mistress calls to comfort him. Let them rot together. Poor Evelyn. Just seeing her name made me sick. I declined the call, and blocked her number. Instantly, the world felt 50% cleaner. He hung up? He blocked her? What is happening to this plot? The driver glanced at me through the rearview mirror. Sir, that was Ms. Sterling. Don't say her name again, I said quietly, my tone cold as steel. He went silent. The phone rang again. This time, it was my assistant. Mr. Blackwood, is it done? He asked cautiously. Yes. It's done. Should I prepare a settlement for Mrs. Lynn? Not a penny, I interrupted. Keep the prenup. She leaves with nothing. I remembered the agreement. Evelyn had signed it. The original Damien had forced her to. He'd even kicked her out after losing their child, thanks to Vivian's lies that the baby wasn't his. Have her things packed and thrown out of the house, I said flatly. Don't send them anywhere. And take the keys back. My assistant audibly swallowed. Understood, sir. And? What should I tell your father? He always liked her. My father? The only person in the book who'd ever treated Evelyn kindly. And the one who eventually disowned Damien? I'll handle him. Schedule a department meeting in 1 hour. I want every division head in the conference room and all project reports on my desk. Anyone who isn't there in 30 minutes can hand in their resignation. Yes, Mr. Blackwood. Right away. He hung up. The comments flew so fast they blurred. Is this a divorce or a scorched earth campaign? Cold. Ice cold. He dumped Evelyn, blocked Vivian, and went straight back to work? Did his brain just reboot? When I stepped into Blackwood Corp, a familiar scent hit me before the voice did. Vivian. She rushed toward me in a cloud of perfume, her eyes red, her tone desperate. Damien, why did you block me? What did I do wrong? I sidestepped her. She stumbled, barely catching herself. Damien, she cried, her voice trembling. I walked past her and sat behind my desk. Who let you in? I asked coldly. My assistant told me about the divorce. I was worried about you. She stepped closer, trying to look pitiful. Gab. What? Now? Her face went pale. Damien, how could you? Security. 2 guards appeared almost instantly. Escort Ms. Sterling out. From now on, she's banned from this building without my permission. Yes, sir. Damien, you bastard. I hate you. She screamed as they dragged her away. The office fell quiet. The chat went wild. He really kicked her out. The main love interest just got downgraded to an extra. This plot is chaos, but I'm loving it. I ignored them. The phone rang again. It was the butler from the family estate. Your father demands your immediate presence, sir, he said nervously. Of course he does. I looked out the window at the city skyline, the sunlight glinting off the towers I technically owned. If this world wanted a villain, I'd give them one. But this time, the story would go my way. The old man was sitting on the couch, his face pale. To my surprise, Evelyn was there too. She stood in the middle of the room beside an open suitcase, carefully folding a few pieces of clothing. She froze when she heard me enter but didn't turn around. The old man saw me and slammed his hand on the armrest. You insolent brat. You'd better explain yourself. See for yourself, father, I said calmly. It's done. She'll be leaving as soon as she finishes packing. Leaving? He shot to his feet. Who said she's leaving? He strode over to Evelyn and slammed the suitcase shut. Evelyn, stop this right now. You're not the one leaving. Evelyn's hands hovered midair. The old man turned sharply, his finger practically in my face. You're the one leaving, Damien. I have no son so heartless, so blind. Another explosion in the comments. Go off, Dad. Put him in his place. Damien must be terrified right now. Here it comes, the breakdown. The begging. The old man turned to Evelyn, his voice softening. Evelyn, don't go. Damien's changed, truly. I just found out he blocked that woman Vivian and banned her from the company. He still loves you. When I didn't react, my father's chest rose and fell with fury. Damien, I'm telling you right now, if you go through with this divorce, you can get out of this family. The Blackwood fortune will have no heir named Damien Blackwood. Evelyn is a wonderful woman, and all you've ever done is torture her. Without her, you're nothing. He looked at me, waiting. Waiting for me to crack, to beg, to have the grand epiphany the novel promised. I looked at him. Then at Evelyn. She was staring at me too, her lips pressed into a thin line. The air felt electric. When I finally spoke, my voice was perfectly calm. All right? The old man froze. Evelyn's eyes widened, just slightly. A flicker of something unreadable crossed her face. Shock. Maybe even curiosity. The comment stuttered for a moment before exploding again. What did he say? All right? That's it? Wait, he got the wrong script. His father just disowned him and he said all right? He's lost it. Damien's officially lost his mind. Look at Evelyn's face, she didn't expect that either. Holy hell. He didn't just tear up the script, he set it on fire and pissed on the ashes. He's really giving up the family? The inheritance? My father stood there speechless, his face turning purple. Evelyn's gaze stayed locked on me. I ignored them both and turned away, heading upstairs to pack my own things. The taste of freedom was intoxicating. The comments kept pouring in. He's giving up the inheritance? Just to get divorced? This guy reached a whole new level of bastard. A bastard with willpower. 3 years of build-up for a tragic romance, and this is what we get? My world is crumbling. I can't keep watching this show. At that moment, Evelyn appeared in front of me, blocking my path. Her expression was neutral. Damien, I'm the one who should be leaving, she said quietly. But you should know, the baby I lost was yours. It wasn't Idris's. I never cheated on you. I met her gaze without blinking. Can we stop playing this push and pull game? I'm not coming back. I smiled lazily. I'll personally drive you to the airport. Music to my ears. Oh, by the way, there's a corporate gala tonight. Whatever you do, don't show up. I really don't want to see you there. Her brow furrowed, a flash of anger in her eyes. I studied my nails. If you don't go, Idris won't go either. I won't invite Vivian. Everything will be perfect. Please, I'm begging you, just stay away. She just looked at me, confused. I'd read the book. I knew exactly what cliché scene was supposed to unfold tonight. At the gala, Damien sees Evelyn arrive with his best friend, Idris Vance, and is consumed by jealousy. He grabs Vivian and kisses her dramatically. The chaos escalates, leading to a fight with Idris that drives Evelyn away forever. Finally, his father publicly disowns him, and the crawling redemption arc officially begins. By telling her not to go, I was trying to prevent all of that. A clean break. Everyone wins. But if they did show up, well, I wasn't playing by the book anymore. I already had evidence the original Damien never found. Freedom felt too good. Who had time for pathetic love-hate games? I didn't need to chase anyone, bow to anyone, or dance to some melodramatic script. I wanted my own time, my own space, my own future. To hell with humiliation. To hell with melodrama. I was here to make money, build an empire, and live on my own terms. But Evelyn, in a total break from her usual behavior, lifted her chin, defiance flashing in her eyes. I'm going, she said. Who are you to tell me what to do? Predictably, the comments went wild. Damien versus Idris, place your bets. Tonight's going to be a war zone. Can't wait to see Damien crumble and beg. I've read the book. The showdown's coming. If the male lead doesn't suffer tonight, I'll eat my own shoes. Idiots. All of them. I ignored Evelyn. I ignored the comments. And I went back to the office. The conference room was already packed. Every executive sat stiffly, a thick folder in front of them. The air was tense, charged. Everyone was glancing at me from the corners of their eyes, filled with a mix of fear and curiosity. They knew I'd just finalized my divorce. They were bracing for the storm. After all, the old Damien had been a tyrannical, temperamental CEO who ran the company based on whims and rage. I sat at the head of the table. No small talk, I said. Let's begin. Finance, you're first. The CFO shot to his feet and started his report: revenue, profits, expenses, cash flow. His voice was fast and slightly trembling. I listened, my mind processing the data automatically. In my previous life, I'd worked in finance. Reading statements came naturally. I could spot inconsistencies and padded numbers from a mile away. Stop, I said, pointing to a number on the projector screen. There. Third quarter marketing expenses. A 35% increase from last year. Explain. Sweat beaded on the CFO's forehead. Mr. Blackwood, that was for sponsorships at several major events and a celebrity endorsement. Which celebrity? Where's the post-campaign analysis? ROI data? Conversion tracking? My voice was low, but every word hit like a hammer. You don't have it? I said. Then it was a waste of money. Who approved that budget? You did, sir, the CFO stammered, paling. It was a recommendation from Ms. Vivian Sterling. The former director and Mrs. Blackwood also agreed it was feasible. Vivian and Evelyn? Again. The comments were already accusing me of shifting blame. Evelyn is no longer a director here, I said, my eyes locked on his. We're divorced. She has no connection to this company whatsoever. And Vivian Sterling? Who the hell is she? Since when does an outsider have any influence over Blackwood Core's finances? The room fell into absolute silence. I could feel everyone holding their breath. They all knew the old Damien would have done anything Vivian asked for. I continued, my voice cold. This was negligence from the finance department. The manager responsible will lose 3 months of bonuses. As for you, I said, turning to the CFO, your year-end bonus is gone. Don't let this happen again. Next time, you can clear out your desk. The CFO's knees nearly buckled. Why yes, Mr. Blackwood. I'll launch a full internal audit immediately. Next, I said, shifting my gaze. Project development. The West End property. Why is it 2 months behind schedule? The project manager jumped to his feet, stammering about zoning permits and demolition delays. I listened, interrupting only to ask about milestones, responsible parties, and proposed solutions. I was sharp, efficient, and wasted no words. The atmosphere slowly shifted, from fear to a reluctant respect. No one dared to relax, but they couldn't deny it. My questions were precise, my reasoning airtight. It was as if I were a completely different person. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't throwing tantrums. But this new, clear-eyed Damien was far more intimidating than the old one ever was. Even the tone of the live comments changed. Whoa. He's actually working. Is this real? He's terrifyingly focused. His questions are so professional. He's hitting every weak spot. Is this the same idiot CEO who solved problems by throwing money around? The divorce hit him so hard it unlocked his brain. A man focused on his career is kind of scary and kind of hot. Shut up. Don't fall for him. He's still the villain. But seriously, he really doesn't care about Evelyn at all. He barely says her name. The meeting dragged on for 3 full hours. By the end, everyone looked like they'd survived a war. Exhausted, but with a new light in their eyes. It wasn't just fear anymore. It was respect. I stood. Meeting adjourned. I want solutions for every issue we discuss on my desk by noon tomorrow. Action plans with names and deadlines. If you can't deliver, I'll find someone who can. Yes, Mr. Blackwood. The answer came in one unified voice. I left the conference room, walked through my office, and went straight to my assistant's desk. Find me a new apartment, I said. Downtown. Top-tier security. Maximum privacy. I'm moving out tonight. Anything important, pack and send it. Everything else, throw it away. My assistant blinked. Sir? You're not going back to the mansion? That's my father's house, not mine. I have no interest in living with anyone from that family right now. I met his eyes. Understood? Yes, sir, he said quickly, scribbling notes. I'll start right away. One more thing, I added. Change all my passwords. Every lock. Every security system, especially at the mansion. I want a full sweep done. No one gets near my personal space without my permission. He hesitated. Does that include your father, Evelyn, and Miss Sterling? That includes everyone, I said flatly. My voice left no room for argument. Yes, sir. The live comments were still buzzing in confusion. He's moving out? Cutting everyone off? Is he turning into some lone wolf CEO? I can feel it, something big is about to happen. Am I reading a tragic romance or a corporate thriller? Wait. I think I actually like this. With everything settled, I went back to my vast, empty office. Beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows, the city skyline glowed in golden sunset. I stood by the glass, watching the slow flow of traffic below. The comments flickered across my vision. What's he doing just standing there? Trying to look deep and brooding? He must be regretting it. I bet $50 he's about to call Evelyn. Classic jerk move, pretend to be distant to lure her back. I let out a quiet laugh. Pathetic. My hand brushed against the USB drive my assistant had handed me earlier. I pulled out my phone and dialed. Mr. Davis, I said calmly. I need you to set up a personal trust fund for me. Transfer all my personal assets, property, stocks, investments, everything unrelated to my direct holdings in Blackwood Corp., into it. I'll be the sole trustee and beneficiary. I want it fully protected from the Blackwood family estate. There was a brief pause on the other end. Then my lawyer's voice came through, suddenly much more serious. Understood, Mr. Blackwood. I'll prepare the legal framework and have the documents ready for your signature by 10 a.m. tomorrow. Good. I hung up. The last rays of sunlight slipped behind the skyscrapers, leaving the city shimmering like a sea of stars. I watched as the lights came on, and for a moment, even the comments froze. A trust fund? He's separating his assets? And making himself the only beneficiary? What's he doing? Is he writing his own will? Is he really planning to go completely solo? Does Evelyn even know he's locking down all his money? Forget the redemption arc, he's not even playing the same game anymore. The gala was in full swing. Crystal chandeliers glimmered overhead, and the air buzzed with laughter and chatter. I leaned casually against a marble pillar in the corner, a glass of champagne in hand, surveying the room. Evelyn was there, just as I'd predicted. Her best friend, Idris Vance, stood beside her, a little too close. He was smiling like an idiot. Evelyn's expression was neutral, but she didn't move away. Across the room, Vivian floated from group to group like a social butterfly, but her eyes kept darting toward me. The comments rolled in instantly. The whole cast's here. Let the games begin. Look at Idris, grinning like the cat who got the cream. Evelyn, girl, you can do better. Vivian still trying to get his attention? That woman has no shame. Damien's just standing there, brooding in the corner? Go fight for your woman. Place your bets. How long until he loses it? 5 minutes tops. Can't wait to see him punch Idris right in that smug face. Fight. Fight. Idris saw me. A smug, knowing smile curved across his lips. He slipped an arm around Evelyn's waist, and started walking straight toward me. She tensed, but didn't resist. They stopped right in front of me. Damien, Idris said, raising his glass in a mocking toast. I heard you made quite the decision today, Idris said smoothly. Congratulations on your newfound freedom. His tone was sharp, his eyes cutting toward Evelyn. Evelyn and I are so happy for you. Evelyn said nothing. Her eyes, filled with complex, swirling emotions, were fixed on me. The comments exploded instantly. Idris is starting a war. Matthew. Damien. Do something. He's using Evelyn as a weapon. My poor girl. Look at Damien's face, it's ice cold. He's about to unleash hell. Then Vivian hurried over, perfectly playing the role of the worried ex. Idris, Evelyn, she said sweetly, maybe this isn't the time to provoke Damien. He's in so much pain right now. Idris snorted. Pain? Or just stupidity? Letting a woman like Evelyn go? Vivian immediately stepped in front of me, as if to shield me. Mr. Vance, watch your mouth. You have no right to talk to Damien that way. The comments were pure chaos. Oh my god, the villainess is defending the hero. This is peak drama. Idris is fanning the flames and Vivian's throwing gasoline on them. Perfect combo. Damien, destroy them. What's taking so long? Why isn't he losing his temper? He's gone catatonic, oh no. I looked at the three of them. The provocateur. The actress. The silent observer. It was like watching a circus. I smiled. I had planned for a quiet night of networking. But if they were so eager to hand me a victory, who was I to refuse? I pulled out my phone and tapped the screen a few times. The enormous ballroom screen, previously showing rotating corporate logos, flickered. Then it cut to hidden camera footage. The angle was discreet, but the image and audio were crystal clear. It showed Idris and Vivian sitting together in a private room. The comments froze for a fraction of a second, then detonated. No way, he's putting it on the big screen? What is Damien doing? It's a hidden camera. Alert. Something huge is coming. This wasn't in the original novel, what's happening? On screen, Idris poured himself a drink, grinning. Vivian, you're a genius, he said. Bribing that doctor to swear Evelyn's pregnancy came from before her marriage, right when Damien was overseas. The idiot bought it completely. Vivian giggled, covering her mouth. He deserved it. The only person he ever cared about was that tramp Evelyn. I wanted him to be the one to destroy his own child. I wanted him to throw her out with nothing. She leaned in closer, voice honeyed with cruelty. And you played your part perfectly, darling, taking her out for that friendly dinner. Idris clinked his glass against hers. To a successful partnership. I get Evelyn, and you get what's left of Damien. Once he's cut off from his father and loses his wife, the Blackwood Empire will be ripe for the taking. Evelyn will have no one left but me. Vivian's eyes gleamed with malice. Damien has to be mine. How dare he cast me aside? When he loses everything, he'll crawl back, and then we'll see who's really in control. As the video played, a dead silence fell over the ballroom. Idris's smile froze on his face. The color drained from his cheeks. His expression shifted from smug satisfaction to sheer, primal terror. He stared at me as if seeing a ghost. Vivian's fake tears and wounded expression vanished. Her mouth opened, her entire body shaking. Damien, this isn't, let me explain. She started to rush toward the screen, but one cold look from me stopped her in her tracks. The most shocked of all, though, was Evelyn. She stared at the screen, her body swaying slightly. The wineglass slipped from her hand and shattered against the marble floor. Red wine splattered across her white dress like blood. She didn't even notice. Her eyes were wide, pupils dilated, like she'd just survived an earthquake. Disbelief? Devastation. And then a cold, burning fury. Slowly, she turned her head, first toward the trembling, ashen Idris, then toward the catatonic, desperate Vivian. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. The comment feed became a tsunami. He dropped a nuclear bomb. Damien just dropped a nuclear bomb. Holy shit. The twist of the century. It was Idris and Vivian all along, those two-faced bastards. Look at Evelyn's face, my heart's breaking. Damien, you're a god. That was the ultimate power move. Wait, so when he signed the divorce, blocked Vivian, and left the mansion, it was because he already knew. He's not the villain. He was playing the long game. This script is insane. Everyone who called him a scumbag, apologize right now. The redemption arc just turned into a revenge thriller, epic. Evelyn's shattered, her whole world collapsed. Look at their faces, Idris and Vivian look like they're about to piss themselves. My brain can't handle this. Too much information. The video ended. The screen went black. The ballroom was still. I set my untouched champagne on the table and looked at Evelyn. Her face was whiter than her dress. Her eyes, lost, glassy, full of pain. You saw that? I asked, my voice low. The words sliced through the silence like a blade. These are your trusted friends. The man you believed in. The woman you confided in. I gave a humorless smile. The child was mine. You never wronged me. They wronged you. I gestured to the two wrecks still standing nearby. Then my gaze returned to Evelyn's pale face. You hurt yourself, suffering in silence, never telling me the truth, letting your pride rot into resentment. That, too, is a sin. Without another word, I turned and walked away. Through the stunned crowd, through the storm of exploding comments. I left that golden, glittering, rotten ballroom behind. The night air was cold against my face. Behind me, I could still faintly hear Idris's hysterical shouting. Vivian's shrill sobs. And Evelyn's broken, uneven cries. The taste of freedom now mixed with the bitter flavor of truth. The comments kept flooding my vision like a victory parade. He destroyed them. Damien annihilated everyone. From villain to legend in one video. The ball's in Evelyn's court now, what will she do? Rewrite the script immediately. Sir Damien, do you need a loyal servant? Idris and Vivian, socially executed. So satisfying. Damien, turn around. Evelyn needs you. The next morning, my lawyer called to confirm that all my assets had been successfully transferred into the new trust. Then the old man called. Damien, come back to the mansion. I know what happened last night. I invited Evelyn over. This is your chance to make things right. His voice was stern, but there was a thread of hope in it. Come here, apologize, and we can all be a family again. The comments appeared immediately. Yes. The old man's playing matchmaker. Time to get back together. Evelyn's heart is softening. Go on, Damien, crawling arc cancelled, remarriage arc activated. Go back? I said, my tone flat. Back where? To the Blackwood mansion? Wasn't it you who personally kicked me out yesterday? I assume my name's already off the deed. The line went quiet. My father cleared his throat. That was simply. I was angry. You're my son. We share blood. Everything this family has is yours. Come home and make things right with Evelyn. Father, you're hilarious, I interrupted. Yesterday, over a daughter-in-law you handpicked, you called your own son heartless and blind. You told me to get out of this family and declared you had no heir. Your words, each syllable dripping with conviction. And now, a single night later, you find out your perfect daughter-in-law was a victim of conspiracy, and your blind son suddenly sees again. So now we're blood again? The inheritance is mine again? Your definitions of family and fortune are remarkably flexible, aren't they? The comments poured in. Damn, he's going straight for the throat. His tongue's dipped in poison. I can feel the old man's face burning from here. Master of psychological warfare. My father's breathing grew heavier. You ungrateful brat. I'm your father. Yes, I said. Which makes your actions even more fascinating. A father who, in order to defend a woman he's known for only a few years, renounces his own son without asking a single question. Without hearing a single explanation. Your loyalty is truly touching. Now the truth's out, and you think a few hollow words about blood will erase yesterday? The water's already spilled, father. You can't pour it back into the glass. The moment you cast me out, I stopped being a Blackwood. You can adopt Evelyn as your daughter for all I care. Just leave me out of it. I'm doing perfectly fine on my own. The comments erupted again. Boom. Logic bomb. The old man's got no legs to stand on. Damien rejecting all emotional blackmail, chef's kiss. That level of clarity, I love it. But what about Evelyn? There was a long silence on the other end, broken only by my father's labored breathing. Then another voice came through. It was Evelyn. Her voice was rough and dry. Damien. Can we talk? Just the two of us. The comment feed exploded. Evelyn's making the first move. Say yes, Damien. This is your chance. Reconciliation countdown starting now. From divorce court back to the marriage license office. I let out a short, sharp laugh. It rang crystal clear over the line. Talk about what? How pitiful you were. How you were fooled for 3 years. Save it, Evelyn. I signed the papers. You did too. My father kicked me out. You stood there and let him. In your mind, I was still the blind, cruel monster who killed your child and tormented you for 3 years. You hated me? You wanted to escape me? And you weren't wrong. Because the man who hurt you during those 3 years had this face and this name. It wasn't me, but I inherited his debt. So I signed. I left. I paid the price. We're even now. The truth's out, and what? You feel guilty. Betrayed? Sorry for me? Don't. You should pity the original Damien, the fool who loved you but was manipulated into destroying everything. But he's dead now. You all killed him. As for me, I don't hate you. But I don't owe you anything. And I certainly don't need your pity. Like the song says, I'm sending you away, 1,000 miles from here. Your apology is a burden I don't want. So, no. We're not talking. Goodbye, ex-wife. Try to stay away from bastards next time. Before she could respond, I hung up and blocked both her number and my father's. The world finally went quiet. The comments collapsed into chaos. Reconciliation failed? Damien with a triple rejection combo. He called her ex-wife, so cold. I inherited his debt. Damn, that's tragic. He's dead now. You all killed him. The implications, wow. So he really believes he's someone else? Evelyn must be shattered. I tossed my phone aside. The sunlight on the floor was warm and calm. The feeling of freedom was sharp, clean, and exhilarating. The comments kept rolling. Damn you, Damien. You cruel bastard. I thought the big reveal would bring a happy ending. But this is the most definitively sad ending ever. Evelyn, who am I supposed to cry for now? This plot demands we speak to the author. A few days later, news alerts began popping up on my phone. Vance Industries stock had plummeted 90%. Blackwood Corp had seized their core contracts, cutting off their funding. Heather's Vance was under investigation for corporate fraud and embezzlement. Vivian Sterling was finished too. A flood of photos and recordings leaked, implicating her in blackmail and extortion. Her family went bankrupt. She suffered a complete mental breakdown. The comments returned, sounding like a victory parade. The old man doesn't mess around, swift justice. That was fast. And Evelyn delivered the final blow. Then she was there. Standing in the middle of my living room. If this isn't about getting back together, I said, then what is it? She didn't answer right away. I just wanted to tell you, she said softly, Idris is finished. Vivian too. And your father, I mean, Mr. Blackwood, made the first move. I provided the evidence. I replied, pouring myself a glass of water. It's all clear now, she continued. The miscarriage. Vivian bribed the doctor and a maid to falsify the records. Idris funded it all and created situations that made it look like we were having an affair. I know, I said. We were both so stupid. She paused, eyes locked on mine. Kept in the dark. Hurting each other for 3 years. A bitter smile touched her lips. Like 2 puppets on a string. We hated the wrong people. And loved the wrong way. The comments reacted immediately. Evelyn has reached enlightenment. My heart hurts for these 2 idiots. Hug her, you fool. Now that the truth's out, it's time to heal. I just looked at her. She looked startled. Then, hopeful. Evelyn, I interrupted quietly. You're the one calling us idiots, not me. She blinked, confused. You think because we were deceived, we should cry on each other's shoulders and start over? Don't be sentimental. The pain of those 3 years was real. The miscarriage was real. The divorce was real. Your hatred for me was real. And my walking away was real. Now that the truth's come out, does it erase what happened? Erase the scars? No. They're still there. Reminders of how stupid and broken we were. The comments erupted again. Damn, so cold. But he's not wrong. Damien, king of brutal honesty. Evelyn's eyes are tearing up. I didn't give her the chance to speak. You said we loved each other. Are you sure about that? The old Damien loved you, yes, in a twisted, possessive, idiotic way. But you? Did you still love him after everything he put you through? No. You hated him, deeply. And now, Damien's dead. I'm not him. I don't hate you. But I don't love you either. My only connection to you is the obligation to clean up that fool's mess. My obligation was fulfilled. We were even. As for you, I said, looking at her pale face, stop talking about love like it's the only thing that matters. It's not. Stop dwelling on the past, it means nothing. Look ahead. Live your life. You have the means to live well. Don't make romance your entire existence. Sometimes, a warm meal is more reliable. The comments flared up. Damien's a philosopher now? Love isn't as good as a hot meal? Evelyn, who am I? Where am I? What is this enlightenment? This isn't Zen anymore, it's full-on nihilism. Crawling arc? More like monk arc. Evelyn just stood there, the confusion in her eyes slowly fading into a blank canvas. She looked at me as if I were a complete stranger. After a long pause, she asked softly, "What do you want now?" I smiled, a weak, fleeting thing. I want to be alone. 3 meals a day. Peace and quiet. Freedom. And to stay as far away as possible from you complicated people and your endless drama. The comments went wild again. Ultimate goal, relaxation. Damien, don't love me, I'm retired. Evelyn's officially out of the game. The crawling arc has been cremated, and its ashes scattered to the wind. Evelyn said nothing more. She just looked at me for a long time. Finally, with a small nod, one that somehow carried both acceptance and understanding, she turned and walked away. The comments followed her exit. She's letting go. It's for the best. Let them both be happy on their own. Damien, thank God she finally left. This is the strangest happy ending I've ever seen. The story of how a trashy romance hero achieved enlightenment. Years passed. Life was good. The old man never fully abandoned me. And the assets I'd taken with me were more than enough to start fresh. I never went back to Blackwood Corporation. I founded my own investment firm instead. My instincts were sharp, my luck steady. My fortune doubled, then doubled again. Money was no longer a problem. My time was my own. My mind was clear. I traveled. Learned to dive. Went skiing. Some days, I just lay on my balcony reading, soaking in the sun. No one to answer to. No drama to manage. Just peace. Occasionally, at industry events I couldn't avoid, I'd run into Evelyn. She had risen through the ranks of Blackwood Corp, under my father's direct mentorship. She was no longer the pale, haunted woman from my memories. She was a powerhouse, radiating confidence and command. The first time we saw each other again, we locked eyes across a crowded room. We nodded, then went our separate ways. The second time, she approached me at a cocktail reception. "It's been a long time," she said. "It has," I replied, raising my glass. We talked about markets, about business, and then drifted apart again. Like old colleagues. Or strangers. The past never came up. The comments appeared occasionally, faint and amused. Damien's getting hotter. Freedom looks good on him. Evelyn's an absolute queen now. They look so good together. Such a power duo. A shame. But what a pair. Both thriving? This is a happy ending. One night, at yet another gala, Evelyn found me at the bar. "One word?" she asked. We stepped out onto the terrace. The night air was cool and fresh. She leaned against the railing, studying my face with a complicated expression. "Damien," she said finally, a small smile playing on her lips, "you're very attractive now." It was a simple statement of fact, no flirtation behind it. I raised a brow. Really? Must be the money. She shook her head. No. It's your energy. My energy? The energy of not caring, she said, gazing at the city lights. You're not chained to anything anymore. You're free. Clear. You know what you want. That's an attractive quality. You didn't have that before. The guy before was a mess of need and insecurity, I said, shrugging. She didn't argue. Yes. And now? This is better. We stood in comfortable silence for a few minutes. We didn't talk about her, or my father, or the company. There was no need. We were both fine. And that was enough. It's getting cold, I said. Yes. Let's go back inside. We walked back toward the ballroom. Two streams that had briefly converged, now flowing peacefully back into their own separate rivers. A few final comments flickered across my vision. And that's it. Damien actually got his own happy ending. Evelyn's living her best life. An unexpected but deeply satisfying conclusion. The redemption arc turned into permanent vacation. You magnificent bastard, Damien, long live freedom. Life went on. The sun shone. The wind blew freely. I drove down a coastal highway with no destination, windows down, salt air in my face. An old song played on the radio. I hummed along, perfectly content. Above me, the sky stretched wide, clear, open, and infinite. The end. God bless.